Hey everyone, this is Jay Warmke with SolarPVTraining.com, and we're excited to announce the update of our residential designing and installing solar photovoltaics course. And I know everybody always says they're excited for these things, and we kind of really are because a lot of work went into this. We really think it's excellent. I think you'll hope so. I hope you'll think so as well. But anyway, the purpose of this video is to preview what we've got. So I know it's a big decision jumping into these things. So we want to give you a little taste of it, what it is, how it works. Now, this program is designed for people who may want to get into the solar industry. So it really assumes you know nothing about solar, perhaps nothing about electricity, and it will take you from zero to where you will be able to design and install a small residential solar system. The only thing you'll really be lacking is perhaps the confidence to do so, which only comes with experience. It is approved and accredited by both of the certifying organizations within the photovoltaic industry in North America. That would be NABCEP as well as ETA, or Electronic Technicians Association International. So you can get continuing educational credits for this, or it can help prepare for you to get that certification. It's part of the program. It's not the total program for either of those. Anyway, a lot of schools are using this course, this online program, integrated in with their face-to-face instruction, so that if a student wants to study at home, or you want a hybrid version of this particular course, where the student can do the lecture portion at home and then come in for the hands-on and the more integrated with the instructor instruction, or perhaps you're an instructor who's new to this industry and this is a good crutch to rely on to make sure you don't miss anything. And it does track with our Understanding Photovoltaics 9th edition of the textbook, which was recently updated. One of the things that we found within this industry, because it really is a new industry, is if you don't keep everything up to date, I mean, it gets stale very, very quick. So we try and integrate all the latest codes and standards, as well as all the latest technology. So within this course, we've expanded a lot about battery technology, AC coupled and DC coupled systems. These are kind of the trends, bi-directional charging with EVs. So you really get into all of it. So we'll walk you through this, but I just wanted to give you a brief introduction, which isn't as brief as it should be. And let's take a look at this online course. All right, so let's go ahead and walk through the online course. And of course, the first thing you're going to do is navigate to solarpvtraining.com. You can do this from your computer. You can do it from your phone. This is a WordPress website, so if that makes a difference to you, it can be integrated into a lot of things. So you'll jump in here to the home page, go to the online courses. And if you're ordering it for the first time, of course, you're going to see a page that looks something like this, and you'll see the prices here. Now, we do have the legacy version of the same course up here because there are a lot of students out there who are still going through that, so we didn't want to pull it down. But I would really, really encourage you to go to the most recent one. The price is exactly the same. This is updated in 2026. So you would go in and you would purchase it. I won't go through that process at the moment. But once you purchased it, it should come up once you're logged into our system as already enrolled. If you're not logged in, make sure that you jump in here, log in, and jump in. And once you're logged into the system, then the icon will pop up and it will demonstrate that you are in fact enrolled in this course. So you can see here, now I've completed it, but it will just say in progress or enrolled or whatever. So if that comes up with the price tag there, you know that you've somehow come disconnected, so you just jump into there. All right, so you can click on the icon here, or you can go down here to continue studying, and you'll jump in and you'll see this particular course will pop up. It is integrated with the 9th edition of the photovoltaics book. So you will have a PDF version, or if you want to order a paper version, you can order that under the Solar Books tab. And there is another little video that talks about what's incorporated in that book. So here you will come down and you'll just start with chapter 1. It goes through introduction to photovoltaics, solar cells and modules, types of PV systems, basic electrical concepts, parts of the PV system, conducting a site survey, designing and installing the array and the inverter, wiring the system, energy storage systems, mounting systems, designing a standalone system, job site safety, paperwork, how to apply for permits, things like that, commissioning the system, and then system maintenance and troubleshooting. So that's quite a lot right there, but then it gets even more. And I could point out right here, you'll see, for instance, under Chapter 1, Introduction to Photovoltaics, it's saying that there are 9 topics within this chapter and 2 quizzes, and it sort of lumps quizzes and labs under the same. So you'll see once we expand this, it will show you the 9 different sections: growth of the PV industry, declining solar module prices, government incentive programs connecting to the grid, and so on. And then there is a lab, an online lab. This particular one takes you into an online NEC, or National Electrical Code reference tool, and it just gives you or the students the opportunity to practice looking up in the code. And then there is an end of the chapter review for each of these chapters. So if I were just to jump into one of these, let's see, I'll just throw in government incentive programs for the heck of it. And once you jump in here, you'll see that the main page pops up. You can go to full screen mode if you would like. It'll tell you this is government incentives. This is the topic. There are also materials that are associated with each of these sections. And this is kind of easy to miss, but if you jump in here, it's just additional information that followed that particular topic. This is a link to the Desire website. So if you're wanting to see what are the different incentive programs within the that state, you can click on that policies, and it's quite a nice little tool there. Or you can go in, and there's some other white papers that are here, and it just gives you a lot of information there. So I encourage you to look in there, because we've tried to incorporate a lot of other things. And in fact, support videos are in there. And then once we're in here, this particular one, we're in government incentives, and you would just hit play. As I mentioned, you can put closed captions on here if you have the hearing impaired or something of that nature, or if you're just wanting to study without it being loud. So we'll hit this, we'll hit the video, and you'll get a sense of it. In any new industry, we see the government try and come up with some incentive programs to try and get that industry from a nascent industry, one that's just starting out, to something that can be competitive with the established competition. That's the same that's been happening here in the solar industry. But in recent years, there's been a lot of debate, a lot of changes within these incentive programs. So we thought we would go ahead and recap what some of these programs are and what some of the changes have been. Now, this is a moving target, so by the time you're seeing this, probably the different incentives have changed, some added, some taken away. Gives you a good overview, though. There have been state, local, and utility. All right, so we'll go ahead and pause that, and you can tell that the dulcet tones that you're hearing it's narrated by me. And then we have also incorporated AI into this. So the student or yourself, if you have a question about this particular section, just type your question in here, and you can carry on a conversation with AI. I know that a lot of people have a lot of AI tools. It's just a convenient way to jump straight into it without having to go out to another program. So the AI is integrated within that. If you want to move from here to the next topic, it will jump here. You've got the button here, or you can come over here. This particular one is connecting to the grid and some of the issues there. And each one of these is going to be exactly the same. It's going to pop you through all of the different areas, the connecting to the grid. It will also tell you at the beginning of each section how long this particular module is going to be. So this one here is 16 minutes and 10 seconds. So if you're trying to plan your study period like that, and maybe it's a little longer than you want to give at that moment, it gives you that kind of an indication. And then at the end of each chapter, you can see here we've got the chapter review questions. And the review questions will just pop up. It'll say start the quiz. It has the questions here. Converting the energy to the sun is known to electricity is known as, and hopefully you get this one right, or otherwise you're in the wrong class, photovoltaics. And you jump through and it will give you the correct answer. Some of these we've incorporated videos that will give you more information about that if you really want to dig a little bit deeper in here. The point cost of electricity solar system is the same as the price. That's going to be grid parity. And I think maybe there's a video here. We'll find out. Correct. We'll also give you a bit of information there. Let me answer the next one wrong from a practical perspective. The answer here is it's only about 15 years old, but let's say it's an industry in decline. If we click there, it will come up and it'll say, nope, you got that one wrong. This is what it is. This is the right answer, and so on and so forth. And then when you get to the end, it will give you an answer. You got 80%, you got 90%, whatever it is that you did. Now, as an instructor, you have access to the back end of this. You can monitor the student's progress. It really is designed that they're not given a completion check. So you'll see off here to the left, each of these green checks says, okay, you've gone through it successfully. Well, they won't get approved for the completion of Chapter 1 review until they get an 80%. So it really is encouraging them to do it over and over and over. And you can see as an instructor how often they took that particular quiz, how long they took on it, which questions they got right, which questions they got wrong. So that's just a nice tool within your classroom if you're wanting to dig a little bit deeper into that. So if we jump down here into Chapter 5, I'm just going to hit a few of these. I don't want to go through all of them, but you can see there are 12 topics here. There are 5 quizzes. I did want to touch on the fact that we have, for instance, here, the Ampacity Table Lab. So I'll just give you a sense of what these labs look like. So if I click on the lab, then we're going to get into very specific aspects where, for instance, we're saying, okay, we want you to do a little bit of practice on how to determine what is the minimum ampacity rating for a particular sized wire. So we give you a little ampacity table here, and it says, using the chart above, what would be the ampacity rating for a U2 12 gauge conductor if it is known that the terminating connector on each end is rated at 90 degrees Celsius? And this is an important thing, but you can just read in this chapter here, or in this column, U2. You would come out here, it's saying 12 gauge, so we would come down here to 12 gauge, and the answer, ideally, 30 amps. And so you would click on 30 amps, and it will tell you that you got it right, correct, and it's just going to show you. Now, let me answer one of these wrong. It says, now, what would be the rating if the terminations at the end of each of these, if the connectors where it's connecting to is unknown? Well, what we're trying to put here is the fact that if you don't know where these wires are being connected to in the different pieces of equipment, you always select from the first column. You just assume the worst case. So it's really looking for 25 amps. But let's say I don't know that, and I'm going to say 30 amps. Then it's going to give you the saying, oops, you missed that one. This is why. And here it says, if the temperature rating of the terminations are unknown, you must assume the lowest temperature and read from the 60-degree column. So that just gives you a sense of how those quizzes work. Each one of them is going to be a little bit different. For instance, here, let's say we want to look at the microinverter parts lab. This is going to then take you into a one-line diagram of a microinverter system. And really, it's just here to get the student familiar with all the different components. So it says, what device and system measures the amount of power that is generated by the array within a microinverter system? And so really what it's looking for is a production CT, I think. The production CT, or the current transformer. And you'll hit that, and that's the correct answer. And then it gives you a little bit more information about that particular thing. So this diagram is demonstrating, well, what is it demonstrating? And so they have to use a little bit of critical thinking there. And because it has a backup panel, we're going to say it's a partial home backup. It's not a whole home. Sunlight backup has no batteries. They'll have already learned that. Self-consumption is just a made-up term there. Not the term self-consumption, but as a system itself, and so on. And then I think we've got some where you can move the bits around and you can put them in order and things of that nature. So it just gives you a sense of how that works there. And then we get into some math problems when you get into the sizing of the array and how that works. So sizing an array lab. And this gets, I think this is very important for understanding of how this works. So we give you a number of scenarios and it says, okay, now figure it out, and these aren't exactly easy. So they're going to get you through that. And then as an instructor, we also give you additional scenarios with the answers. So, you can either give those to the students to practice because that's something they're always asking for, or you can just simply use it in the classroom. And then, of course, you have a way of checking yourself to make sure you know that it's correct. So this gives you a sense of it. As I said, all of these different sections in combination is going to be about 46 hours of experience. And I think by the end of it, you or your students are going to have a really good understanding of residential solar design and also installation.